You wake up at 6:45 a.m., exactly 5 minutes before your alarm is set to go off. Your body just knows. It's been doing this exact same routine for thousands of days. You stare at the ceiling, listening to the quiet hum of your air conditioner, and you run through the usual morning affirmations. It's a solid job. The benefits are good. The 401k match is decent. But deep down, in the quiet moments before the house wakes up, there's a heavy sinking feeling in your chest. You are making more money right now than you ever thought possible when you were in college. You're out-earning your parents. On paper, you are the definition of the American dream. And yet, somehow, you feel more completely, hopelessly broke than when you were making minimum wage. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly why that feeling isn't just in your head. It's not poor budgeting. It's not a math error. It is a highly optimized, deliberately engineered system. Welcome to the Salary Trap. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Prosperity. Let me introduce you to Michael. Michael is 32 years old. He works in corporate tech, and he makes $130,000 a year. Statistically, Michael is in the top percentile of earners in the country. He should feel financially invincible, but he doesn't. Michael gets paid on the 15th and the 30th. That's a massive amount of money on an annual basis. But here is where the trap perfectly executes its first maneuver. The system never actually lets Michael see that money as a whole. It doesn't drop 130 grand on his desk and say, "Here you go, make good choices." Instead, it fragments his wealth into 1,000 invisible streams before he even opens his banking app. First, Uncle Sam takes his cut. Federal taxes, state taxes, FICA, immediately slicing off the top. Then, the real bleed begins. The mortgage payment for the house in the good zip code takes $3,000. The property taxes and the HOA fees take another $600. But Michael is a professional, right? He can't show up to client meetings in a 10-year-old sedan. So, the car payment for the new SUV takes another $800. Add in the full coverage auto insurance, gas, the cell phone plan, the high-speed internet, and the $600 student loan payment he's still aggressively fighting. Don't forget the lifestyle subscriptions, Amazon Prime, Netflix, the premium gym membership he barely uses, the organic groceries from Whole Foods. By the time Michael actually sits down to look at his take-home pay, out of that massive corporate salary, he might have $200 or $300 of truly free capital left for the next 2 weeks. But here is the absolute psychological genius of this entire setup. Michael does not feel poor. He lives in a beautiful suburban home. He drives a brand new car. He orders Uber Eats whenever he wants. The system is feeding him a constant drip of extreme comfort, just enough comfort to numb the pain of not actually building wealth. This is the first weapon of the salary trap, the illusion of prosperity through fragmentation. When your income enters as a large sum, but exits through a dozen automated digital pipelines, your brain fails to register the danger. You think you are building wealth because your surroundings look wealthy. But you aren't. You are just building a very expensive lifestyle. And a lifestyle is a liability, not an asset. Chapter 2. The Golden Handcuffs. Now, let's look at the microeconomics of why you stay stuck. Why can't you just walk away? Society programmed a very specific path for you. Get good grades. Take on student debt. Get a high-paying W-2 job to pay off the debt. You did exactly what you were told. But the moment you accepted that great salary, human psychology took over. Economists call this lifestyle creep, but I call it the trap of deserving it. When you got your first job making $50,000, you lived with roommates, you brought lunch in a Tupperware, and you drove a beat-up Honda. You told yourself, when I make $100,000, I'll save half of it. But then the promotion comes. You hit 6 figures, and suddenly, the apartment with roommates feels a bit too small. You work hard, right? You deserve your own place, so you upgrade your rent. Then, you notice your coworkers driving Teslas and BMWs. Your Honda feels out of place in the corporate parking lot. You deserve a safe, reliable, nice car. So you sign a lease, you start buying better clothes, taking more expensive vacations, treating your friends to nicer dinners. Every single time your income goes up, your baseline for normal goes up with it. You are keeping up with the Joneses, but the Joneses are drowning in debt too. Every raise feels like a step toward freedom. But in reality, every lifestyle upgrade is just you, tightening the golden handcuffs around your own wrists. Why? Because now, you cannot afford to leave your job. You have built a massive, hungry financial machine. Your mortgage, your car notes, your credit card minimums. They demand to be fed every single month. And the only fuel that keeps this machine from completely collapsing is your next paycheck. The most brutal part of this? The system didn't force you at gunpoint. It just offered you the credit line. And your own psychology did the rest. A vice president making $400,000 a year is just as trapped as a junior analyst making $60,000 if the vice president's lifestyle requires $399,000 to maintain. Your salary does not determine your freedom. The gap between your income and your expenses is the only thing that buys your freedom. And everything in our consumer economy, from targeted Instagram ads to the concept of the credit score, is designed to keep your gap at 0. Chapter 3. Why the system loves you. Let's look at the macro picture. The economy absolutely loves you. When you live paycheck to paycheck on a 6-figure salary, you are the perfect, predictable gear in the machine. You are a guaranteed revenue stream for the banks, the car dealerships, and the real estate market. Because you are trapped by your overhead, you are compliant. You won't take massive risks. You won't quit to start that business you've been dreaming about. You won't take a 6-month sabbatical to travel. You will wake up at 6:45 a.m., drink your coffee, and go to work. Because you have to. All your future labor has already been sold to pay for your present comfort. I want you to pause this video and ask yourself a terrifyingly honest question. If your company downsized tomorrow and your keycard stopped working, how many months could you survive in your current house, driving your current cars, without a single dollar of income? If your answer is less than 6 months, you are living in a comfortable prison. You are one corporate restructuring, one medical emergency, or one bad quarter away from total financial ruin. That is not security. That is walking a tightrope without a net. The salary trap convinces you that this is just how life works. Work, earn, borrow, spend, repeat. But this is not a law of gravity. It is a mathematical equation, and any equation can be rewritten. The moment you realize that your high salary isn't actually making you rich, it's just keeping you too busy to figure out how to build real wealth, everything shifts. Once you see the matrix, you can't unsee it. You stop asking, how do I impress my boss for a 5% raise? And you start asking, how do I buy assets that pay me while I sleep? This isn't about quitting your job tomorrow and moving to a cabin in the woods. It is about a fundamental shift in your mindset. It's about tearing down the system from the inside. Chapter 4. How to buy back your freedom. Here is how you break out. Step 1. Stop confusing your income with your net worth. A $200,000 W-2 is just cash flow. It can disappear on a Friday afternoon via a Zoom call. $50,000 sitting in an S&P 500 index fund. That is wealth. One is temporary. The other is permanent. Step 2. You have to violently attack the gap. You must intentionally and ruthlessly force your lifestyle costs to be significantly lower than your income. Yes, it goes against every consumer instinct you have. Yes, your friends might think you're crazy, but keeping your expenses artificially low is the only mathematical escape hatch you have. Step 3. Deploy the gap. Do not let that extra money sit in a checking account being eaten by inflation. You take the difference between your income and your expenses, and you buy financial soldiers. You buy index funds. You buy cash-flowing real estate. You build a side business. You convert your temporary labor into permanent equity. The ultimate goal of all of this isn't to buy a Lamborghini or a mansion. The goal is optionality. The moment you have 2 years of living expenses invested and 0 bad debt, your entire posture in life changes. When you sit in a meeting, you are no longer operating out of fear. You don't need the paycheck to survive the month. You can say no to bad projects. You can negotiate from a place of power. You stop being a dependent of the system, and you become an owner. The salary trap is brilliant. It is perfectly designed to keep smart, hard-working people running on a hamster wheel forever. But it is not inescapable. The people who break free aren't luckier than you. They just decided to stop playing the game by the bank's rules. They adopted a new mindset, a wealthy mindset. You have that exact same choice, starting with your very next paycheck. If this breakdown helped you see your finances in a different light, and you want to actually learn the step-by-step mechanics of building real wealth, hit that subscribe button. Here, we don't just talk about getting a better job. We break down the macro systems, the micro habits, and the hard math of buying back your freedom. This is the wealthy stick mindset. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.